la khol de ye me do bara je la je wa gon do yon da la ma je ba la long je je sa da lam je yan de ra zo ne do je chang ge gong pa nyo do yo tene ta tanda dewa jinto jewe jo sumbate rela ta kasin ka kapsala dewa jinto jewe jo tongbo hinkam yella sawa tene te je sola dewa jinji hinkam to jewe jo nipa te sanam je so saba ta terin dewa jinto jewe jo sumba tene tanda chongchun cho to sem jeba rela tene ta teya jitang ke tanda ngarang ke pendra boji song yo rela tanda ngarang ke hya la pendra boji song yo rela tene tanda ngarang ke hya ti tene tanda dewa jin de ji melam tene tanda kama chami kin sepa kama chami ke tene jitang ke 다 대화진지 꼬르데 tene tanda wapa me jindo ine shogu panda boji yorede ina ya wapa me gando de pe de ji jachim boje mangboje tene de tapa kurdu de la de ji tene kaleka ji tene gamte jibondo boji chado la tene kasin wapa me 대화진지 hingang kor hie ju de ta de wapa me gando de ma hi ba che tene 대화진지 manam ti hie yin sa ba da ta je ba ngarang tene de 대화진지 manam ti nyunyu da bo je la tene ti nang do wapa me gando e tan ya yo re sa ba da bo chong song la tene tanda kong ge tanda song na kama chami rangi wapa me jindo e ten te tanda dewa jinga melam te teni konga wapa me jindo dan jai dewa jingi hengi gupin do dan ni pema karbun do dan sum teni chimi ngada ndo dan ye gomba tawa je duni kongi song yin tende song yore la teni teacher na ti tai ni hyo na pe yapu yore somne teni hyo bare.
So the first cause for rebirth in Dewachen is the having the realm of Dewachen in one's mind. And the second cause is gathering accumulation of merit. And the third is developing the bodhicitta. And Rinpoche says that what he is teaching from is the Dewachen prayer composed by Karma Chame. So there is also the Amitabha Sutra, and that one could teach from. So the Amitabha Sutra is good to know, but the Amitabha Sutra is very long, and So that makes it difficult to carry around with you, and it makes the Amitabha Sutra makes your luggage heavier. And so Rinpoche came to the decision that he would teach from Karma Chame's Dewa Chempra because it's quite short, and but also he thinks it contains also all the what is taught in the Amitabha Sutra. And Karma Chame himself says that his prayer, Dewa Chempra, is based on Amitabha Sutra and on the Sukhavati Sutra and on the Pundarika Sutra, White Lotus, which is the White Lotus Sutra, and on the Sutra of the Drumbeat of Deathlessness. So, therefore, this Dewa Chem prayer is therefore, I think, a good text as a basis for teaching on Dewa Chen.
Tene ta thela ya kama chami ge songte tene chitang ge kepe ge ni tsik tela tsik lang kepe ge nyam da bo chi da ma tang wa konang chitang palki da bo che ge tene song yo re la teacher na kepa kha hi ge ta da nekap go on de se na kepa kha hi ge chami na yi ma se de se cha ge yo re chami na yi Deni Niman Nupchi Churu na, Tumi Jitim Buparo na, Junzi Tentam Poppy Yosa na, number top Hinkan Dewa James, na yet on Pongotan Yorilla. Tinti Sigi Janda for Jesse, Chomi Naima sit in the Karisiguru. Nickname the dog yorilla, dog yorete, in a young Kori Be Tanla. Danger on the sin and dog and that chasan yepa. The need the like a lossum number takpa, Tanjuk semi because thought of which you don't think you are rilla.
Chenchuchi Semge, a conta. Chenchuchi the Chenchuchi Semge.
Gork, that much Titan Koma, Tanjuk semi number of which you don't think you are.
And to Kamachame said that. His text is not written in a very scholarly manner, and it's not like a very well-written scholarly text. It's written in a very simple and straightforward way, and so the Kama Chame got given the nickname is called the Four Nas Kama Chame, and Four Nam is a particle in Tibetan. And which can mean to, at, in, and because like when he starts off his first verse, he's saying, at a point many worlds away, in the realm of Sukhavati and so on. But anyway, he ends up using the same particle na. He uses the particle na 4 times at the end of each verse. So this is, this is not kind of very good writing, you repeat yourself. So that's in the first verse. So people, instead of calling him, 4 na Kama Chame. So it's a very simple, but in the text, Kama Chama's text, so it's very simple and straightforward, and it has a great deal in it about development of bodhicitta.
Tene Tombo Konke, Lojunda Boda, Tene Habjanda Boti, na yore la, Tombo Ngotanala. Tene Deni Chami Turanze, and the Chakanga, Tujundo, Nyamni Yapochiruchi. Tene Konga Lojula, Lakpa Nayum Bene Tree, Sitati, Konga Chami Demente Zombe Kapla Kong Shot, Lakpa Nagi. Lakpa nagi ware, lakpa pe nagi ware. Yina ya te kong te lakpa nana ya zepa gamne, kong kali jatne tipa yinsi. Lakpa nani kali jatne trigupi junsen te kandire se na mombo ngala ifin sam se me mombo je la pen yung tate demen te trina me mombo dewa jinte chewe melam jab tene dewa jin de je tende chona be pento chembo yung re samne losam number ta ba ge ta che di dewa jin de je menam de je ya bo ji dina be memang bol pento re samba che ne la ba na ya ka le ja ne ti ba yin de kong lo ju na ba ji 다 공을 합자라 칸데나 요아레센 베제 데멘다나 요르르시 마홈팔라 페사티 술라팔라 총나 테니체 양자르도 테 양자르도 카피 조섬나 테인지 민지 야로지 가르리세난데 페얀치와 메 테닌데 펜토 치와타 대화진드게 제토베 만난다고 베 펜토 침부 요아레 디게 페사티 야르나 메티알 펜토도 그래 네 사페담마 메 드닌데 베 사모 단다 첨부 가 갈첨부래 되네 나이 추지 자와 인가랑 추가 자완다 보지 예 되네 랑가르 마추르 냠린 방 시타가시가 마가 데시 냠린치 something like.
And so Kamachami writes about what the writing of this text, and so in verse he says, he asks people to practice this, to do this as a regular practice, daily practice, and he says that he wrote this with a bad hand, so his hand was hurting, so it was painful to write, but nevertheless he wrote this text, and so he wrote it with a bad hand, and the reason why he wrote it, even though his hand hurt, was that he thought it would be beneficial to many people by being able to write out Dewa Chen prayer, and people be able to have this Dewa Chen prayer would be of great benefit to many people, and so thinking that even though his hand was hurting, he wrote out the text. And so he says, so this is a text that would be very beneficial for many people, and it's something which also has a very profound and deep meaning. And he says that, so if you acquire this text, and then and if you please make a copy of it if you wish to, and lend it to other people, because it is something that will be of great benefit to others, that there is nothing more beneficial than this doing this practice of this Dewa Chen prayer. And he says that it's like the root of all his own Dharma teachings, and so therefore not to just, if you get this text, just to have it, to keep it, but to put it into practice.
Tene te so nan den dolu imbecher lo ma ta pyong dan rong se tene de ndo dang hwa ni ge na ni zo ya ba me jin do la den ba imbecher na ndo re tene wang da long tin de me na ya de ge re tene dan cho ge re so re la tene teacher na tanda ngarang ge sam na khasin tene ta jitang ke memambugala tina ni misal ke belge sena tinga ranso kanga lochim bo chawno bi ore teni tanda tisedu je dewajing ke korne choganda bunta chona tende yapunda usungdo la tende pe yapurela tende je yeng tanda inayanda rang tanda la inayanda teni kapkala tanda chomi demente songna tanda ngarang jurga pati lapal yo marela te mahupala jurga pati korona te te kapkala chopa kende kapkala gergende tende sena be pento chimpo yabo yung kore sambato.
And tambo karonge kamachame
long matter jong dan.
And then Kamachame says that this is from the Sutra tradition, and because the teachings in Amitabha principally are in the sutras, like the Amitabha Sutra. So therefore, to do the Dewa Chen prayer, one doesn't need to have a lung, the reading transmission. So one doesn't need to have either an Abhisheka or a reading transmission to do this practice of the recitation of the Dewa Chen prayer. So many people had said to Rinpoche and Bill in particular that they were getting old, or people are getting old, sorry. And, people are getting old, and so thought it would be a good idea for people to be able to do Amitabha practice, Amitabha ritual, so get the Abhisheka for that. But and Rinpoche thinks that this Dewa Chen prayer is something that's very useful, very easy to recite, and so when people gather together, you can recite the Dewa Chen prayer together, and people can recite it individually. That Rinpoche doesn't have a copy of the translation and phonetics with him now, but he can send that later. And so this is the Dewa Chen prayer is a very good text to use, very easy to use.
Tene ta tanda ngarang ki shya tela tene Dewa Chen to chewe ju nipa te ju sumba te ta kaseng ka kapsula hupare jerdo yenla dan yep na ne ta sonam ji tso sapala yenla dan yep na ne tanda manam ngoa te la yore la kaseng yenla tu hupare la teni yenla dengana dumba gewa ngoata jusumba chongchu de senje panite nyam de sumare la teni ta khasin sonam ju tso so be ke tap la jitang ke tanda te yore la yenla deng no ne chan salwa chepam bulwa dikpa hyapa teni jesu yirwa tene tanda chuchun kolo kowa nyangile mandawa yubra solwa tapate tate tso che sonam ji tso sabar sepe tabla rangi sonam ji tso saba ta yin la tene sonam ji tso saba te namba nyi yore la tene te yendale ya sanji tang chanchu sembalan chepambulwa la sope go ne sonam ji tso saba ta tene ma senji dungal jin la jamba tang nyi ji go ne sonam ji tso saba nyi yore la de saba yo nyi yore la ti na ne tanda tangbo rang tang yin nyi ge na ne rang ge sonam ji tso saba tab zo de sungwa de ti chok de yin la chok de rang tang yin nyi ge na ne rang ge sonam ji tso saba ge tab zo je ta sanji tang senji sanji la sope yen ten ta demba na la tene sonam ji tso saba tab ta senji dungal jin la tene sonam ji tso saba nyi ge na ne sanji tang sanju semba la sope yen ten ta demba la tene sonam ji tso saba tab de zo ri yo 마도 다 생진라 때네 사람들 소소하게 답디 티는 히로 요마래 다 단다 때네 뭐와도 melom데 간데지레세나 때네 단다 랑다 인이게 나니 인라 때네 사람들 소소하게 답디 조세 받자이다 때네 상제당 생진이게 나니 생진 동날진라 때네 사람들 소소하게 답디 조원다고 지레요래라 때네 텔라야 다 단다 tene melamdabu jege number 2 ten yore la tartu jangchup to topic melam jeda tene nekap tene jangchu sembe jepalan jup melam jede number 2 yore la de na ne tangbo tartu sanji ji kompon topic tartu jongchu chembo topic melam re.
So the third cause for rebirth in Dewa Chen is development of bodhicitta, and so in this text that dedication and bodhicitta are like taught together. So yesterday from the accumulation of merit as the second cause included the teaching of 6 of the 7 branches. So the 7th branch is dedication, and so that is taught with bodhicitta as the 3rd cause. So in the 7 branches, the first 6 branches were paying homage, making offering, confessing bad actions. rejoicing in good actions, and asking for the wheel of Dharma to be turned, and making a supplication that Buddhas remain and not pass into nirvana. So those first 6 are for gathering accumulation of merit, and they are the second cause. And the 7th cause is the 7th branch, the dedication, which is taught with the bodhicitta as the 3rd cause. Now, in terms of accumulating merit, there are 2 kind of ways of accumulating merit. There's accumulating merit based on oneself, and there's accumulating merit being based on others. And so the accumulation of merit through oneself are like these first 6 branches. And the accumulation of merit based on others is accumulation of merit based on having love and compassion for other beings. And so that is like the 7th branch, of the 3rd cause for rebirth in Dewa Chen. So one has those 2 aspects, that of accumulating merit on the basis of oneself and accumulating merit on the basis of others. Then there's also in question of accumulating of merit through the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and accumulating merit through ordinary beings. So the first 6 branches is accumulating merit on the basis of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It does not really involve ordinary beings and beings who have suffering. But it's the 7th branch, that of dedication and of the development of bodhicitta, that is accumulation of merit on the basis of ordinary beings. So it's not directed towards Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, it's directed to ordinary beings in samsara who experience suffering. So therefore this 7th branch, or the 3rd cause, is like the accumulation of merit which is based on others, and from amongst Buddhas and ordinary beings it is focused on ordinary beings.
Tene ta teya ngarangi gewe zawa ta kakonto dewa jinti jiwe ki chirto tene chan sarwa tang che pambulwa tang dikpa xiaapa tang yesu yerwa la sope gewe zawa din tsani ta ngarangi gewe zawa kare sapa te tene senjin kanga la ngogi senjin kanga la pen topa jeke ta ngarang jibu ge tenda mayinba senjin tamji la penpa je yungu ge wara la tene te yang ta te jitang ge nekab ge penpa ta tartuk ge penpa ta nekab ge penpa yang yapo re la tene kab ndar menlam jape ge tenda zo te tartuk ge penpa rabo je la song ge wara la tene kanga sanji je kompong te topa sanji je kompong topa te nyordo topa 다 코로와 돈이 쭉 숨기 와라라 코로와 돈이 쭉 숨지 될라 빼나 ngaranso 추초바 제 보톨 나면 야이가나 보톨 제가 나는 야이가나 드니 때 당보 닉다보 차상 마 오라 때데 그래봐 드니 대전들라 ngaranso sem진 그 내당다보 제 있나야 sem진 때 제당 코로에 그 tun홍다보 제 임베잖아 동할당 tene dekendo nyemo batang, ju nyemo batang, tene dekendo lengen balaso ba mambu, cheke maa nyik depandabo che yapate. Tati botol ki choti yapu chi tuk yana, tene kanga sing ya lal do kare ba. Tene hinge ta ngarangi ngoa di sepa la tene sentin kanga la, pe tene ju nyemo batang, tene sem chi dunghal tang, lu ki dunghal, tene kanga 잘네 tene kanga yapoje 용을 효 선배 만남 잡아나 진짜 많게 와래.
And as this is a wishing prayer that is focused on 2 things: a wishing prayer that's focused on ultimate result, and focused on temporary benefits. So there's that in terms of attaining like the supreme ultimate goal, and then also for wishing prayer for beings to be able to kind of enter into the conduct of the bodhisattva as the temporary relative benefit. And this, the ultimate goal is the attainment of state of Buddhahood. So that is what the prayers is directed at. So in terms of dedication, one is dedicating the good karma that one has accumulated, such as the good karma that one has accumulated from paying homage, making offering, doing confession, rejoicing, and asking the wheel of Dharma to be turned, and making the supplication not to pass into nirvana. So this good karma is dedicated for like an ultimate result and for the temporary benefit. Tatuki.
Tatuki, manam japare. Sarsong. Tene korwa tong ne tupa.
And and they said that this prayer, which is based on a ultimate benefit, it's said to be like shaking samsara from its depths. And what this means is, like, if one has a bottle of water, it's dirty water, and gradually this sediment kind of settles down to the bottom. And so in that way, in samsara, that the old beings who have their like bad karma and their defilements and so on, and so it's like they're all sinking down to the bottom. And so through this prayer and through this dedication of merit and through a prayer directed to final enlightenment of all beings, that it's like this gets shaken up, just like if you shake a bottle, then all the sediments at the bottom comes whirling up through the water and is dispersed. So in the same way that all the beings have sunk down with the defilements and suffering and so on in the bottom of samsara, that through the prayer they are like shaken loose, and they all come rising up out of the depths of samsara. So in that way one makes this prayer that all beings be liberated from their suffering, liberated from samsara, and gain the ultimate liberation.
Tene ta tela ta tige tartuk manam japare. Ta nekap manam japare la. Nekap kandi manam japare se na tene janju sempi japasi topati manam japare la. Tene te yang ngarang gewa te ngarang la ya ta yin la ya pen topati da rang la ya pen topati yo ho se. Kandere se na tene ta ngarange yin je tan se gupa imbe cherna tangbo ngarang seringbo gogre tene zubo debo gogre nichi tene lutop dang damba gogre tene ngarang pe tap dubo chona te yin je tan se tu yo mare la tene ta tela parchi mepa je gogre la tene teacher na sombe tanda khanga rup tene te tabu ge ngarang ge sambetan rupni sambetan te yang chu dang tamba sina ta kanga la pen to ba je ge ngarang ge sambate manurwa samba zangbo ye ba tene sentin tamje la pen to ba je go ge yo la tene sambetan rupa te yang chu dang tamba tene ngarang ge samba yendo la rupa je go ge yo ba te ta te tabu je yo je dang 대다부지 용화라 땡네 되네 로라 펜토파 대든 로아 센팅 강가라 베르나 둥할다 뎀발라 둥할다 뎀바지 있나 되네 둥할리 잡토바지 울긴 폼바지 있나 울긴 폼발리 잡토바지 되네 대와다 뎀바지 있나 대와데 연도 네바시 토바지 추에다 뎀바지 있나 추에다 뎀바세바지 토바지 somba nyambaji ina somba nyambate pang to baje somba zangboji ina somba zangbote yendu ne to baje la sopa ta tan don dorna janji chakan yepate remji ngarang pong trosi to baje ta yenden ji chakan yembate koni konto pelu trosi to baje yon chose ta tila 대답지 임베처나 대답지 정네 나랑게 밀루 토파데 다가시 세송마이바 밀루 토파데 단단데바데 단단데바 간데시 단단데바 고거데세나 테네 강가라 단다 공두기바 yendola senji mambola 펜토파 senji 둥할지 mambo 둥할 살웨 고네 펜토파 senji 둥할 메파 mambo 둥할 메페게 탑세바 둥할 다 달네 인 림보네 토베게 탑세 토반다볼라소 바타데 네갑
So it's the a wishing prayer for an ultimate result, and then there's the wishing prayer for the temporary results. And so this concerns both benefits for oneself and for others. So and it's to do with being able to engage in the conduct of the bodhisattva. And so, for example, for oneself, that there are benefits that one requires for oneself, so that oneself will be able to benefit other beings. So when he prays for a long life, and for health, and for physical strength. Otherwise, if one is in a bad condition and in a bad way, one won't be able to help others. So one prays that one will be able to help other beings, and that one's conduct will be a conduct that is involved with the Dharma, that is related to the Dharma and in harmony with the Dharma, and that one's thoughts and one's motivation will always be good and positive, and so that in that way one will be able to help other beings. And in terms of the benefit of other beings, one prays that one will be able to help to protect them. If there are people who have beings who have suffering, to be able to free them from suffering. If they have illness, to be able to free them from illness. If they have poverty, to be able to free them from poverty. If they have happiness, to be able to make them maintain that happiness and keep that happiness for a long time. Or if they don't have the Dharma, to be able to provide them with the Dharma, and to be able to help them to progress, so to become a companion or helper for beings, and so that one can help them to eliminate negative qualities they need to eliminate, help them to obtain the positive qualities that they need to obtain. So it makes this wishing prayer that one can become someone who can protect and help beings, to free beings from suffering, to bring them happiness, and to be able for them to remain with the practice of the Dharma, and to be able to progress. So that way one makes this prayer to able to benefit other beings, as this is in terms of the temporary benefits, or the non-ultimate benefits that one can bring to oneself and to other beings.
Tene ta te dardo sedu tene tanda jitang melam te japarela melam te ge shukla temba ten tanda penna konti hiba yendola kama chame ge tambo zanggu pi junsen ya samba zangbo pe yeba pensem chembo yeba tene kantariya ta ngaranso dewa jindu jewe josumba teya ta zo janchuk sem sungri warela janchuk sem sedu jitang ondu sena ta palki ndabo jela ta peshe chu ge ondu sena janchuk sem sungri warede yena ya palki ndabo sena samba zangbo se be samba zangbo yakbo je tene samba zangbo senkinti be kalchewa 다 선바상부 갈다 때라 가리요아레세나 되니 제 지당 그 니엠몬바데 척도다보다 되니 니엠몬바 네셈다보다 네셈세나 다 해당 그 레수도바 예나 네바정나 네바지 시에나 선바다보지 네셈당 되니 식바생킨다보 되니 제 책념바지 랍나 선바다보다 Tene 대견도 넘버 세워서나 제 내빠지 달려나 선반다보다 다 딘데기 선반 nembe게 망부요라라 대답이 선반 nembe게 레게 잼해봐 강가라 지보제 랑게 우스 토바이나인다 랑게 우스 무토바이나인다 지보제 정나 야보제 정나 연된다 덴바지 정나 되네 강가라 작도 매봐 내셈 매봐 납셈 매봐 되네 선바상부 고네 다 대답이 선바상보다 덴바제라 되네 거기 와라라 되네 지단가 온드세는 알아서 다제 선바상부 요래 강가라 선바상부 매바 요마래라 선바상부 요래데 이나요 선바상부데 되네 자침보 강가라 주리 매반다보 탐지라 이어바제다 되네 대답이게 선바상보다 덴바제 거기 요래.
So then, so there's this wishing prayer, but along with the wishing prayer, there's the teaching by Kamachame on, good motivations. He wrote this text with this wish to be of benefit to beings. So he wrote it with very good motivation. And so, concerning like bodhicitta, that we need to develop the bodhicitta. The bodhicitta is like a classic, like a Dharma term. And then if one says the same thing in more like ordinary speech, that when we say bodhicitta in terms of Dharma terminology, then in ordinary speech you might say like, good motivation or good thoughts. And this means just the, one has good motivation or a very good motivation, really wishing to help other beings. And because so that one is free of any kind of negative thoughts, such as like envy that can arise in the mind, or the anger, or like maliciousness, the wish that to be able to cause harm to someone, or this kind of wish to speak unpleasantly to someone, the wish to upset someone. Or then there could be the wish to harm someone. There could be like an aggression, this motivation to directly cause harm to someone else, and so on. And there are all kinds of different negative thoughts that can arise. And so with a good motivation, one becomes free of that. So one eliminates that and instead just wishes that everyone be happy, everything go well for everyone, that everyone gain benefit, even if one isn't able oneself to actually, make people happy or benefit them. That in one's mind, one just makes that wish that I want everyone to be happy, I want everything to go well for everyone, and everyone has good motivation, everyone has good thoughts. We're talking about a very vast good motivation, in which one is thinking of not just some beings, one's thoughts are not biased towards just a certain number of beings, but it's towards all beings, and wishing that all beings be happy and free of suffering. And that's this good motivation that Kamachami says we should cultivate.
Tene ta tejendola tanda sombasangbo gogi warela tene sombasangbo te ya ta te da nyamdola inji minji ta kasen ngarang hyusongla zo tene niji sorda hirab sorse sorni dang dang basongju samse ge warela tene sombasangbo te la inji minji hirab kalchege ware 라 드니 티 히랍데 메나 sombasam보데 쿠바 sombasam본다보지 예나 드니 가시게 드니 sombasam보시비기 열텔라야 네데반다 열텔라야 마빈반다 네데반다 용기 와라라 드니 단다 대현들라 야 가시 sombasam보시네 tene yul tela pena ya tene tanda yul tela pena ya yenda jela ne de panda yung yore. Penna yultela ne de pandaboje yinna. Tene narang singmoji yorava. Narang singmoti morang putela. Pe mesi petsewa yorava. Pe mesi petsewa yore. Ta ti puti pe yapoje go. Puti pe jeme pa yentin yepaje. Teni takpa amake ni chanan dinde maji dinde chi dinde maji se takpa hi de yorava. Teni puti khona chasingi yorada. Chasingo. Teni amake takaso.
Amaki tindra.
Amati takpa teni chen dinde maji dinde laguni mare de chegure se. Te puti khona pe chasingi yorava. Teni takpa nyota chegure charan rotong yapu chaumason charan letong yapu chaumason charan che chaumason ta dinde se ni mare dinde chegure se te khona amala zurni rogi yorela. Teni yina yang sompa sangpurete. Yina yang sompa sangpurete te kukwa ke sompa sangpurete rogi yorela. Teni te yolte la painto yo marela. Teni rabu ke sompa sangpa maimpa. Sompa sangpa nguni painto pa yapu chegure yorela. Teni sompa sangpurete yang te yendol sompa sangpa kahi yolte la paina yang yendol ne de pandawa yung yorela. Teni maimpa kangal nepa mepa yapundwa. Teni ke sompa sangpurete la hirap yapa chegure yorela.
Dichirang kisingmo.
Nyangarang sing.
So, and so it said that the bodhicitta is something that needs to have these two corners, and one is compassion and the other is wisdom. So it needs to have these two things. So traditionally it said it needs to have these two corners. And so basically bodhicitta or compassion needs to be accompanied by wisdom. Otherwise one can have a good motivation, but without the wisdom then one could have a stupid good motivation. And so when one was thinking of I want to help that person, benefit that person, but then one actually harms that person by what one is doing. Or it can be that one has the motivation to help someone, but because lack of wisdom one does help that person, but as a result of what you're doing you're harming someone else. So this kind of thing can happen. And for example, Rinpoche says he has a sister, and so the sister has a son, and she thinks the son is just wonderful, and she loves her son. She thinks he's the best, and so she wants to do whatever she can for him. So she's always telling him that you don't do this and don't do that, and you shouldn't do this. You're doing that wrong, and she's going on and all the time. So it becomes a real hassle for the son. He's he can't stand it. So she's always there by his side saying, "No, you won't. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. You won't do this." So it's been done with a good motivation. She wants to help him, but she's just ends up giving him a hard time. So in that way you can be wanting to help someone, but you end up not and then also there are you can be trying to help someone and do help them, but by doing that cause harm to other people. So it's to avoid that.
Tatela sompa sangpo la ya chitang ke sompa sangpo sidu le la bon da yore de ina ya khahi la de se ngonyo yore ngonyo bo perna ya sompa sangpo mahin ban da bo che ina uni pento de ba perna ngaran so loju ge na la depen hintop chin se ki yore ba tene depen hintop chin ge tene 콩 huma 다 디자가 로주니 바가 온데세나 자가네 린팅만 보여요. tene 대두 자가라 빵조르 쳔버 히로요. 빵조르 쳔버 예베 존센데 칸데레스나 린팅만 보여요. 린팅 텐주가 나라 림보치가 레이만다와 만 보여요. tene 총바 텐조 tene 콘조 린팅가 나온도 tene 린팅 그 난가 도 만다와다 tene 사만다와인데 그런데 tene 자갈라베 가히 림보치 레콘 자침보인데 망보용기 와라라 tene 망보 총바망보 린팅란도요 tene 총바망보 린팅란도들 다 디깔라 투징 야보메바 Then Yankachi Boyorella, they to sing an on the Tepe, says so on the way. Langua Ju Yanking candies and Drogo Yapa, Rimbochi Tenso Rimbochi Yapo, the Dubo Mohinking, Lintin and Lady Rimbochi Yapon Dam Hinking in the Tepe, Tepens, Pembochi go, so on the go Uchichi go Yorella. Then it take Captain La Sombang Aja, Yapa Truchimbo, Jagan, Sombang Aja Yapache. Then it tell a Tepe. Nintop Jinsinkiti Yabache, then Corando Capsula, Tini Tina Magic Pay Sambang Bayor, cause Samba Duboyorella. Tini Tamangajat Mepachi of Gusingas of Cope, Zipasa Hedantini, Mangajat Mepachi Pick a tablet, Ticabla Trula, Miguchi Pugana, Tichonon to Tini Tretema, Jansin on Bay, Mangajati Hendogre, Koran Hendogre, they Cope Hedanchembo, they call Samba Napot in the Yobarella. Tini te koranga deben hintop jinga hakoni ta de ta kansi ko kresena ta tab yenda yo mare nig mengaja de chogonon segrela te masi be mengaja ti so tap thoguna ta ti mete se ko tini korang pe ta mengaja ti chapa ta tini koranya lengen ba masap mengaja se be dipa masap tabla tini deben hintop jinga tini ti mena dung chisengi ngol tari jan separe tini ti sepatela nipa dipa yore besine dipa yomare tini te karire sena samba sangbo mengaja chepa sangbo mengaja so chapa samba sangbo mengaja so chapa ke chetre sela rela tini junsi teacher na tela kari chumore sena tini kaba mambu senam ko so sapare se tini loji yore la te tawo ina ya samba sangbo hera tong tempata tini yungu yore
minak po tung
Not don't say to it at the Cadina. Corazon Napolatin Tabaina, Hedan Chevalatin Tabaina, that quarantine day Tabains.
And so, but all the teaching of good motivation, good actions done with good motivation, that can hearing these teachings maybe they sound a bit dull, and boring. But it's not necessarily like that. That one can have actions that can come out from doing good motivation. Like for example, that there's a story of how long ago in the past in India there was at one time great wealth in India, and this is because of the islands around India, and that merchants would go to these islands where there were many jewels, many precious stones. So they would go there, find all these precious stones, and then bring them back to India. So it was very wealthy. But in order to go there, one needed to have like a head merchant, someone who knew the way to go to the islands, to which island to go, where to find the best stones, how to choose them, and so on. So on one occasion there were these 500 merchants, and with their head merchant, and they set off on a ship for the islands. Also on the head merchant's name was Ningtop, which means like courage, and on this ship there was also someone who was kind of very wicked, very black mind, whose name was Minak Tungtung, and he really wanted to kill all of these merchants, and because he had so much anger in him, and he thought the way to do that, when the ship was out at sea, he would go down and make a hole in the bottom of the ship, and that would drown everyone, including himself, but he didn't care, he just wanted to kill everyone. And so the head merchant Ningtop, he knew what this man was trying to do, and so he thought, well, in order to save the lives of these 500 merchants, the only thing I can do is to kill this man, and so to save them, to save their lives, and also to save this man from the bad karma he would accumulate from killing these 500 merchants. He came up to Minak Tungtung and hit him on the head with an axe, and which killed him. So he's saying, was this a bad action? And no, it was not a bad action, because it was done with a good motivation. And so also it was a very kind of positive action.
Tene ta teacher na samba samba senketele inki miti tola hirab yeba. Tene hirab yeba jeta hira yeba te tujondo kalchunchu ma impati samba samba ti nyam te yapo tangne. Tene tengone yapo tachi sine samba samba se gobate be kalchewa rela teacher na niji yendan la mi sor hirab ji zojong la mi sor se. Niji ki yin lang ngone pen tao ge niji de sor changchu ge san tseni ni sing gore ba niji yendan la me sor hirab ji zojong la me sor se tni sor ni ta ti hirab ya ba te niji ni nyam du ya ba te pe kal chwa yin so gore de ta bu changchu ge san de tu jon do kangala ngaran sa kal chwa la som na tin te dewa jin te ji ge josu malan ro gore.
And so, with the good motivation, has to be accompanied by wisdom. So, and has to have that wisdom that can examine what it is one is doing. So, it's said that if one is developing compassion, then along with that, in the corner of compassion, that one needs to have wisdom. And then with the development of wisdom, and also the wisdom needs to be accompanied by compassion, to have that on its side, on its corner. So it's like they need to connect, and so one needs to have both compassion and wisdom. So in that way one trains in having a good motivation, both of having both compassion and wisdom together. It's wisdom which examines the good motivation, what one wishes to do in order to benefit others. So in that way, with developing such a good motivation, one creates the third cause for rebirth in Dewa Chen. So maybe we'll meditate for a bit.
re